Alright everyone, somebody sent me a news tip the other day on Twitter. It was actually from an older Breitbart article that references a post that was made by one of Wikipedia's co-founders, and I guess he wandered off the Dem plantation. See, the thing is, here's the oddity, and I've had this experience too. Back in the early tech era, like I was a liberal, politically speaking. Tech was liberal in the more libertarian, truly liberal, not far left sense. And it pledged itself towards non-bias and intellectual expansion and truth over opinions in the essential sense as far as Wikipedia and similar sites went. Now the co-founder is saying, well, I mean, if you just compare the Obama and Trump articles, you can see quite clearly that there is a point of view bias. Wikipedia has abandoned its initial goal, which was to have a neutral POV. The whole idea was that there wouldn't be any opinion with regards to the articles. Now, technically speaking, the things that are written in these articles, by and large, are accurate, at least in the more subjective sense. That being said, it's a lie by structure, and this is what it points out, and I've pointed this out with legacy media reporting for a very long time. What you have is a situation where an article will be fundamentally true, but it's still biased to the point where it's technically a lie. So you would, for instance, with fact-checking, I pointed this out as an anecdote. If I want to make two politicians who are both equally truthful look different in their truthfulness, I will simply artificially limit the number of comments that I analyze for truthfulness. So I'll take 100 comments by each of them. I'll take the one that I don't like, I'll take 80 lies and 20 truthful comments and analyze them. This person's a liar. With the other one, I'll take 80 true comments and 20 lies. This person tells the truth a lot more. Well, then this candidate Y is obviously better than candidate X because he lies less. Now, of course, they lie an equal amount of the time. They've made thousands of comments. Maybe it's 50%, maybe it's 90%, but I've artificially limited the comments that I analyze to make it look like there's a difference between the two. Snopes does this. They're clearly biased. They don't analyze every comment by every politician. If you did, you'd have a radically different picture of the truthfulness of the respective political figures within the United States. PolitiFact and all these different groups. Wikipedia does the same thing. What it's pointing out here is that it's a lie by structure. What you do is the material there, by and large, sometimes debatably, is true. But there's no mention, or only very little mention, of the scandals and things that plagued the Obama admin. They've been scrubbed, basically. The article's been sanitized. Whereas in the article about Trump, it clearly fixates upon scandals. Now, part of this is a recency bias. It's just the fact that Trump happens to be the current president, Obama is the former president. This sort of thing, even in the public psyche, happens. You see people, liberal individuals, talking about the successes of the Bush admin now. Well, he was Satan at the time that he was elected. As soon as he left, he aged like fine wine thereafter. And now they think, oh, W wasn't that bad a guy. They'll do, by the way, the same to Trump despite their obvious Trump derangement syndrome. But it's true. And this isn't just a Wikipedia issue. This happens with the legacy media. They lie to people on a daily basis. I see it. I look at their articles. They're masterfully, cunningly conceived. You look at an article, for instance, where the title is fundamentally refuted by the text of the article, but the title is buoyed up by the first paragraph. 90% of the people will only read that. Half the people that look at an article online, they read the title and the tagline. Another significant proportion of the rest only read a paragraph or two. So if you bury the good stuff that you don't want the reader to know but have no choice but to put in the article, at the end of the article, they'll never see it. By and large, it'll escape public notice, unless somebody else reanalyzes it in a proper structure. And of course, by then, because the news cycle moves so quickly, because people have a short attention span, it's basically too late. It's gotten to the point where fact-checking and refuting lies is very difficult because of the speed at which they spread. This, by the way, is why legacy media and big tech want to artificially strangulate content creation. They don't want people like me to get out ahead of a news cycle and tell people the truth and inoculate them against a bunch of improperly structured lying bullshit. That's what they have a problem with. That's the fundamental issue for them in their corporatism. But, it's funny, when you have a person who helped create a site, lambasting that site for abandoning its initial principles, it's pretty damning. And this isn't an individual who's like, he's not exactly David Duke, something like that. This is one of the pioneers of early big tech. Wikipedia is one of the big ones. It was even bigger maybe 10 years ago. And I can remember, by the way, have you ever actually attempted to do any editing on Wikipedia? By and large, people can't do that anymore unless they're part of their special insiders club anyway. They've protected half the articles on the site and virtually all of the interesting ones. To protect from vandalism, aka to protect against people injecting a little bit more truth into the structure of these articles. Go ahead and try and see how far you get, whether it's politics or not. Even mundane articles. Look, I can go through Wikipedia and point out a million examples of just basic grammar errors in some of these articles. Even then, you need a whole fucking committee of people to get together and agree that your change is necessary and proper. Even the most mundane change, like let's say I go into the Trump article and I attempt to put a properly sourced, I got 4 or 5 fucking sources from the lamestream content trying to put in a passage about something good he's done, it'll probably get removed. This isn't pertinent to the article. You structured it wrong. We need to, in the talk section sometimes, well, we need to have a vote basically on whether to have this article or not. It's like when they scrubbed cultural Marxism off of Wikipedia with the idea that it was a conspiracy theory or something, but it was no more or less a linguistic conspiracy in the word usage that they were arguing from. It'd be no different than trickle-down. Technically speaking, trickle-down economics was never actually proposed by the right wing, but there's an article on it. Of course, that's not what it was called, and that wasn't the basic fundamental idea. The whole term was just concocted by the Democrats as an attack line. Yet it's on Wikipedia. Meanwhile, cultural Marxism, not so much. There's a difference between the way in which these things are treated. Wikipedia definitely has a considerable left-wing bias. Yeah, of course. Initially, like the reason for things like Rational Wiki is originally they had a neutral point of view sort of default, and so people on the left and people on the right with Conservapedia, they made these like offshoot Wikipedia-style pages for their political views so that they could spew nonsense. But now Wikipedia is liberal too, so it doesn't really matter. Very interesting. So yeah, it's an interesting article, link in the description, archived of course. That's about all. Peace out.